Okay, so setting is we're in some office. You waited in a lobby area for 5 or 10 minutes. Somebody from HR came and got you, and you've been sitting in an office. And then 2 guys walk in, and they're dressed exactly like this, and they're holding your resume. And so you want to be an environment artist.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so both of us are going to we'll play the roles of environment artists.
Okay.
Which for me, I guess is a little bit less of a stretch.
That's easier.
I was once upon a long time ago.
Really? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your resume here, and so the reason that you're here is because internally we've looked. I wouldn't be explaining this to you. This is just be how it would be. You would have applied for a job, and then we would have looked through your portfolio and seen enough so that we thought, well, we should talk to this guy. And you don't know if there are 5 other candidates or if you are the only candidate, and we're like desperately hoping that you're not a serial killer because we love your work. Like this, we'll probably be pretty, neutral as far as our approach. Now it's going to be an intro-level position, and probably if anybody's watching this, they will be in the same position. They'll be looking for, they'll be in school or whatever.
Yeah.
So as I look at this, my first thought is, I see McDonald's on there. I see Panda Express. I see Marshalls. Those things are completely irrelevant. Like before I got into the industry, it's a true story. I delivered pizzas for Domino's. I waited tables. I did landscaping work once. I built some websites. Whatever. None of that stuff is relevant.
Okay.
And what you need to get across with your resume is and you have to fill the whole thing up. Like the stuff that is important is what I need something specific. I need somebody that knows Unity, Max or Maya, Photoshop, XNormal, whatever. The understanding is you're new. I will be teaching you some of these things, but I have to go all the way down to the lower corner before I see what your software is. That's kind of the only thing I care about.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, being a junior starting out, I would agree that it doesn't matter any of the stuff that you've done. It matters what you know now.
Yeah.
Where is our starting point? Because like Isaac said, the understanding is that you're coming in with a learning curve, and that you have to pick this stuff up. And so, yeah, it's staring at your resume right now. It's kind of confusing to find anything.
Okay.
To tell you the truth, I don't know if it's the color or just the way it's oriented, but yeah, my eye keeps jumping around to different spots because you have color and parts that are bolded. So definitely make the software and your skills an important part. Yeah, having education right there is nice, but there's one place in town, and that's the only place I know about that even cares if you went to college.
Okay.
So I would put that more towards the bottom.
Okay.
Myself, so I agree.
So the objective thing, I feel like I'm not really sure why it even exists. It's really just an opportunity for you to mangle the English language. I've seen a lot of objective statements where it does more harm than good.
Yeah.
It's like, my objective is to become a dynamically growing team at a small artist. And I'm like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Anyway. So, okay. Looking at this, the other thing about this is it doesn't really give me anything to ask you about, and that's fine because you don't really have a lot of experience. Really, what I'm mostly going to be talking about is your portfolio.
Yeah.
So, how do we drive with the portfolios there? Okay. All right.
I will say this: the email.
Yes.
I would get Mark A at Gmail.
Mark A.
It's not impressive to me that you have at markadamscraft.com.
Okay.
And I would never remember hello at Mark Adams Craft. I know your website, and I ask you every time what's your
This is true.
URL, because it's hard for me to remember.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could do Mark Adams at Gmail, but that's a pretty common name, so maybe Mark.Adams or whatever.
Mark Adams 3D, whatever.
Sure.
Something. Yeah. Just not hello at
Mark Adams Craft.
Mark Adams Craft.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. Your mail is just Austin, Texas. You can just send mail to Austin. And
is it
like true?
That?
Yeah,
that's what it says.
Mail, Austin, Texas.
Oh.
It sounds.
He's the mayor.
He thought he was writing a personal line. He's a mail in Austin, Texas.
Right. All right. So also, So the blue stuff as being the titles is confusing because you have bold. Bold black stands out much better than the blue does.
Mhm.
Now I like that you're tying stuff in thematically between your resume and stuff, but I feel like there's maybe too much emphasis on having kind of like a complete package that you hand to somebody and they're like, oh look, it's all thematically consistent. And really, it's just like it's kind of hard to read and you get in the way, or like you sort of trip over your own self with the organization.
Okay.
So, anything else?
No, I don't believe so. Thank you. So should I make it like just really plain as far as my resume?
Yeah.
Is that, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put your awards like President's List awards, Dean's List award. I wouldn't do that. I would put like, if you were to have awards, it would be something like Zebra Central top row, things like that. Because, and maybe this is just me because I know what they mean, but saying, okay, you made President's List winter quarter 2013, 2014, but you didn't the rest of the time. What happened? You know what I mean? Like, I know that these are less than the President's List, so to me it just kind of, it's like, well, you got Dean's List a few times and you only got President's List twice.
Gotcha.
It makes you look worse in my eyes than not having them at all.
Yeah, thank you. And then one last question. So we were, one of our teachers prompted us with, as far as work experience, she said that even if it's like a school project, or if you worked on something like my plasma cutter, for example, I can put that as work experience. What's your guys'?
Not a plasma cutter.
You're not fooling anybody.
Yeah, see, that's what.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like something they went to a film festival, maybe.
Okay.
But your plasma cutter, no.
So for work experience, what would we do? Do we just leave it blank?
You just leave it blank.
Like when I look at somebody's like a student portfolio or a resume and I see that they worked on the student game, I worked on a student game once. It's debatable how valuable a skill that is for artists, or experience that is for artists. I think for designers and programmers,
Yeah.
and producers, that kind of thing is more relevant. But I'll know everything I need to know about your, what you bring to the table by looking at your resume, your portfolio. So yeah, I mean, like whatever. If somebody gives you an assignment and they want you to put the experience on there,
Do it.
do it.
I mean,
Do whatever but don't give it to somebody. Like you sort of have control over who you're actually applying to and how. You do it.
if the lowest thing I would put on there would be freelance work. That's it.
Really?
I would not put it. And unless, like I said, your student film went to a film festival and won some awards, or you did a student game that won awards, then it becomes relevant. Outside of that, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. You want me to be thinking of you as a game artist. When I see these other things, everybody in the game industry has done other things, but I would never. It doesn't. I'd rather see nothing there than be, to put the flavor of a McDonald's employee on it.
Okay.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do, but.
Yeah, and I understand what that's like, coming out of school to try and you think people care more than they do.
Yeah.
When I got the final interview at Cloud Imperium, he said, so tell me about yourself. And I was like, well, I was born in Lubbock, Texas. He's like, I don't care. I meant in the game industry. Tell me about what you've done. He didn't care about me. I mean, that's the thing is you mean more to you than you mean to anyone else. So.
You mean about that much to me too. All right, we ready to look at the work?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I really don't like the blue.
You don't?
I know this isn't like this. Maybe the idea behind this was like, we'll just treat it like it's a regular thing. But I would not tell a candidate that I didn't really like the blue. But I can tell you.
Okay, yeah, that's totally.
So the reason is I feel like it's such a powerful influence that. And the other thing is like when your eye sees blue, it tints everything red to balance it out. Like if you stare at a blue thing and you look at something else, it'll all be red. So. Yeah. It's automatically like maybe there's some nice reds in there, but I can't see it. That's why a lot of portfolios you'll see will either have white backgrounds or
black.
Like neutral gray or gray, like darker gray. I go with darker gray because I feel like it helps the darks not just turn black. Because if you look at the handle, like it's just at the end of the gun, it's just black. Now maybe there's more in there, and maybe it's the monitor and whatever. Like you don't have control over the monitors.
Yes.
But you can reduce the apparent contrast of your art with its environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
No, I agree with that. Having a bright color, it makes everything look really dark.
Okay.
Everything in your image. Like even my website is white,
Yeah.
but it's only because I haven't changed it. Like I used to have black.
Okay.
I like black personally because it's like a traditional portfolio almost. It's an image on a black page. You turn the page, it's another image on a black page. This looks very graphic design. If you were a graphic designer, I'd be like, hey, this is great.
Yeah.
But you're not, so stop it.
Okay.
And what happens when you've got 4 pieces? Do the thumbnails get smaller, or do you start stacking and then you've got like this kind of weird L shape?
I think it starts stacking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it might be worth, thinking about using a different template.
Okay.
That's just scroll. See, right now I'm looking at this, and everything. I don't know. It's like a big TV or whatever. So, but like if I was looking at it on my phone, or maybe it's got a different format for the phone, but on my monitor, I could be seeing the plasma cutter a little bit bigger and another view of it, and like a wireframe all in one shot, and then I could scroll down and see the same thing from the fountain. And in the same amount of time as it takes me to scroll to the bottom of your website, I've already seen a lot more actual content. So I would consider
Doing it straight down.
Yeah, just straight down. I mean, it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that.
Okay.
And you're not a Flash programmer or CSS guy or whatever this is written in, and I wouldn't be,
Yeah, no, see, I got someone.
So, it's like less is more, just keep it simple. Let's not interfere with the work too much.
Okay.
All right, so looking at this, I'm going to do the plasma cutter first.
Okay.
This is already more valuable to me.
Okay.
And whenever you put valuable information behind a click, you run the risk somebody's not going to do it. If they just get it right away without having to do anything other than punch your URL in, because everybody's going to go to your site.
Yes.
But beyond that, maybe that's all you get.
Okay.
So, but looking at this, I see 25% of the page is information, and okay, I actually think this is a pretty good way to do it. Because you get this information right here as far as the tools, using the software, what's the poly count, what's the texture resolution. The navigation here is, that's one of those things where, it isn't bad, but it's like one more thing that I have to do that I wouldn't necessarily need to do if I was just scrolling down and seeing like, everything kind of all lined up.
Yeah.
And if you want something like this, like take my site for example. Okay, the image, you click the thumbnail, the image pops up and the background fades out, and then you can click anywhere on there. You can use the arrow keys, whatever, and it'll take you to the next one. You don't have to go back every time.
Yes.
Whatever. So the navigation is a little bit. It's kind of a donkey, in terms of having to do it quickly. As far as the work goes, this is much more valuable. It's exactly what he said. The thing I don't like about it is I would rather see the beauty shot straight away.
Okay.
I would rather see what you do in game, because you don't see the wireframe, you don't see the normal map, you don't see the gray shaded model in game. You see it with the textures.
Okay.
And so I would show that. I wouldn't show your cavity map and all that. That's not necessary to me. And if you do put all that in, then split it. So do you have like your gloss? Do you have your reflectivity map inside
Yes.
the alpha? Then I would split them. I'd have the alpha and then diagonally, boom, there's the spec. That way you're seeing it, because the same UVs gives you an idea of the value range.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely show the beauty shot first.
Okay, and also I had a question about the maps. Would you have it like, instead of having it like where it's like on top of the beauty shot, would you rather me have it as like a separate image?
I'd rather have it with I would make the image, you want the image to be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have those on there, I would make them a little smaller on there, or I would just put them on your breakdown shot.
Okay.
With the normal maps and all that. I don't put those at all on there.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people think it's valuable, some people don't. It just kind of depends on who you're working with. For you, for an environment artist, I would say that's important probably, because you have to utilize
Yeah. And it's probably,
texture space.
you have a lot more tiling stuff.
Okay.
So they kind of want to see, you want to see that in 3D, like you have a playing with the tile 4 times or something.
Yeah.
Did you use any procedural tools in the
D2.
texturing?
I used D2 for this one.
So you definitely want to put that in there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it does Photoshop, makes it look like you did it by hand.
Right.
Okay.
Which and when I don't see Dito and I see your textures, I'm not seeing a huge range of values in there, and it makes me think that like the render, frankly, looks like shit.
Okay.
I mean, it's really, I saw it in real life and I know that it looks better than this,
Yeah.
but most of it is black.
Okay.
And that might just be the monitor or whatever, but you can definitely bring those values so they're less contrasty.
Yes.
So we get a nice range of information rather than just like it's either black or it's white or it's like white with a little tinge of orange.
Okay.
It seems really noisy too.
Yeah, it does feel a lot like concrete, more so than metal.
Okay.
Either that or it's really, really rusted, pitted metal.
Okay.
And on a gun that is sci-fi, it's probably not going to be that way. And the damage you're going to have is going to be on surfaces that would come into contact with other things, or the edges, edgeware and things. But, you know, texture your stuff and do your damage with a purpose. Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to give every edge wear. No, do the edges, think about it. What is this gun going through? What's going to happen to it? What situations has it been in? And then texture it from there. I would take it, and I told you this with previous work, that I know you find it fancy to be in UDK or UE4. Do it in Marmoset. It's easier. They already have the HDRI set up. You pop it in. You can put it on a blank background and still maintain the HDRI.
Okay.
And it's going to look a whole lot better because you are in an environment artist. You should know lighting.
Yes.
You should know how to do that. But while you're getting lighting hammered out, let the software do it for you because lighting can make or break a piece.
Yeah, for sure, especially with something metallic because so much of what makes it feel metallic is it's reflective.
Yes.
And if you don't have something in there to reflect, you may as well be shooting it at max. You know, like it just doesn't quite have that same flavor to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know it's a strong piece. I know you've got you spent a pretty good amount of time on it, and I think in its in the right rendering environment, it would be 100 times better than this.
Okay, thank you. So actually, yeah, so should I redo it or should I move on?
I would redo it.
Redo it.
Just redo the render.
Okay, renders.
Yeah, redo the render on it because this currently is your strongest piece in my mind.
Okay.
Like I look at that and it's like, I know that's the low poly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the high poly?
That's a high poly.
Okay, well it should look like that. I mean, at the very least, because your geometry is not that far off.
Okay.
Your normal map looks pretty good. I saw the bakes. So I should be seeing this much detail, and it's, you want the surface wear to sort of serve the gun, not the other way around.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a platform for you to have rusty metal on.
Okay.
You know what? Everybody does it. Cheat a little bit. Go in, put some glowy bits, paint in some highlights in Photoshop.
Amen, brother.
Everybody does it. Cheat a little bit.
You got a little weird scalloping on a circular edge.
Yeah.
Just handle your business, man. It's gonna be okay.
Okay.
Just make it look as good as possible.
Yeah, because this isn't moving. It's not in game. Now, if you had this in Sketchfab or something and we were rotating it, different scenario because we need to see what it looks like moving. This is a still image. It's not getting any better than this. This is perfect world scenario here.
Right. So we're already assuming you've massaged it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Can we move on?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure. So I'll look around on your wonky UI for the back button. Okay, so now I just want to say that for somebody applying for an environment artist position, I would want to see your tiling stuff first.
Okay.
The prop stuff could be secondary because so much of environment art is like tiling ground textures or strip textures, like you've got a single wall piece and you use that on all the walls, and then you've got 2 or 3 trim pieces and all of that sits on one texture sheet. Or you've got like a 512 for the wall or a 1024 for the wall and then like a 512 for the trim.
Yeah.
So you can get a very busy looking scene using just a few texture resources.
Now, you just did a tiling texture. What is that? Why is it not on here?
I was gonna refine it a bit more.
Okay.
I got some more critiques
Okay.
from Justin.
Okay, well maybe we can take a look at it. Do you have it anywhere?
Yeah, I do. I have it. I can go pull it up.
All right, now Justin, we're talking about Justin Walters.
Yeah.
He's a killer 3D artist.
And Chelsea too.
Oh, Chelsea?
Yeah, I
okay.
got them
Chelsea
both
Velasquez,
certified.
yeah, so they're both really good. Certain Affinity artists.
Yeah.
So they are actual environment artists, and their feedback should be at the top of it.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really good.
So the sculpt on this, I think, is pretty good for what it is. It's found. Let's see. So here's the low poly. Now I think this render, is this a UDK render again?
Yes, this is UDK.
So it would probably look better in Marmoset as well.
Okay.
It's more of a color range. I know it's supposed to be concrete. Concrete's not the most colorful thing ever. But I think I do like that there is the shaded side is cool and the lit side is warm.
Okay.
But it still seems weird to me that you have the light coming from the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. The light should be coming from our perspective. Because I don't want to see the shadow part. I want to see the details and see what you've done.
Got it.
All right, we're recording again.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so right, we're gonna look at this last piece. This is the tiling wall.
Yes.
So for those of you following along in your coloring books, so I think the sculpt looks good. The texture looks sort of undifferentiated.
Okay.
It just feels noisy. I think one of the things that maybe, and this might be another issue with the UDK stuff, it might be lighting and rendering, but it feels like you're not letting the normal map take care of a lot of the variation.
Yeah.
And so you've got this normal map that is based on a pretty nice looking sculpt, and then you're just throwing kind of a noise on top of it, which is sort of obliterating all of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, what it looks like to me, looking at your diffuse on the bottom, is that you took a very close-up image of a stone and just put it on top, and you're shaking your head because that's exactly what you did. Okay. And that explains a lot, because you got to think those individual bricks,
Yeah.
they're not going to be that noisy. The amount of noise you're seeing, that's really scaled up because it's a zoomed in image.
So
Yeah.
it's zoomed in JPEG, probably,
Yeah.
right? So it's like
So you're dealing with the compression. Okay, you're dealing with something that is horribly gamma corrected. You're dealing with 2.2 gamma on a JPEG for those of you following at home. But it is very dark and very muddy, and your sculpt, like Isaac said, looks very nice in my opinion. I would definitely go back, and you could revisit this and make it a lot nicer. And if you wanted to use photos, I wouldn't necessarily say do that. I don't encourage it, but
Yeah.
use an individual photo for each one. Don't
Okay.
just, or for at least more than one giant one that you paste over top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean that'd be my feedback. Another big thing for me is there is no. You have just a solid black map on there. Is that for your spec or your gloss?
That is my.
Either way, the answer's wrong.
Yes.
That's a big thing. It's so flat. You need to have more spec than just black. Stone is not reflective like metal, but it's not cloth. It's not just flat. It's going to have a specular value to it.
Okay.
And your gloss, it needs to be more than black, because that's where all your breakup comes from, is your gloss.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who's teaching you 3D, but they are seriously dropping the ball in the texturing world.
Yeah.
I mean, like I worked at BioWare for 4.5 years, and never once had anybody explain to me how spec maps work, and I never figured it out for myself. It was after I got laid off and I was like, I had an art test where I had to make some metal not look crappy, so I spent 5 minutes on the internet. I read one article from Didu where they broke it down, and I was like, oh, and I made awesome metal. But you will probably never have black maps, right?
Okay.
So if you see that's what you're coming out with, something's not quite right.
Okay.
So for the diffuse on this one, I would take it way simpler. I mean, you could take that exact map minus the cavities, which shouldn't be black lines,
Okay.
and then just blur the hell out of it. Make
Okay.
sure it's still tiles or whatever, but
Yeah.
it should be very, very subtly differentiated color. Let the normal map and the lighting handle it. If you want to have the bricks be different colors, then go in and like tweak them in Photoshop, but like each brick, right? And then I would do it in Pixel Suite. You
Okay.
know, like that's the thing. It's like these days, you don't have to know how a spec map works. It's amazing. You can be you can be as good as the best texture artist on planet Earth 5 years ago with 5 minutes of training. So use that resource because everybody else is using it. And then you've also started playing with
Substance painting.
yeah, that needs to be in your resume as well. Even if you're not great at it yet, just sort of because everybody is looking for that when they're hiring.
Okay.
If you know the interface and can operate it, put it in your resume.
Okay.
Nobody's an expert at any software except for Sean and Dan Tracy. They're the only people.
I don't know that.
They literally wrote the book on CryEng and they work at our studio.
Okay.
And I mean literally wrote the book. I know it all. It's weird. Savant style. As a general rule, for me, if more than 30% of any of your maps are 25% value or less, that's wrong.
Okay.
If you need to have, because that's the thing, that's where you end up with black maps or where things are too dark.
Yeah.
You know, so just look at it. Is 30% or more darker than 25% or less?
Okay.
I'm not sure if I heard that exactly right. Say it again.
30% of your map, spec map, reflectivity map, or I guess it's the same, reflectivity or gloss map.
Right, yeah.
If 30% of it is 25% in value or less,
It's probably too dark.
then it's probably too dark.
Unless you're dealing with cloth.
Yeah, cloth is
Right.
the only example where I see that where it
Is there like no spec there?
it's very little.
Not too much. Unless it's silk. And then it's got a shine to it.
Yeah.
But,
And it's a tropic.
yes. And that's a tropic. Did you raise your hand or what? It was Richard, right?
Yeah.
Alright, anyway. Okay, so let's see. Now looking at this one, I kind of feel like this texture. See, I like your high poly stuff. It's like the weak point is in the low poly. So like even here, I think this texture is better, but it's still so noisy compared to what you've got.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like not put a bunch of noise in your diffuse map, but the noise really should be very, very subtle. And if there's going to be some texture, you want to handle it in the normal map.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's like you're getting one signal from the diffuse, from the photo or whatever, and then something 100% different and way more accurate because it goes with the normal map.
Yeah.
As far as like its relationship to the geometry and the low poly retop and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Now again, and correct me if I'm wrong, your diffuse there looks about 90% photo and 10% paint.
Was a lot of photo.
Stop it.
Yes.
Because
this is a great
and the main thing is, it's exactly what he's saying. Is your sculpts are nice,
Yeah.
but even your mortar is the same color as your stones.
Yeah.
Your mortar is never going to be the same color of your stone unless it's something you buy from the store where you can get matching grout.
Okay.
Yeah. So looking at this, first of all, this should be the first thing in your portfolio.
Okay.
It is hands down the best thing I've seen. It's
Okay.
really nice.
Thank you.
Textures look horrible,
They're dreadful. Yeah.
but the sculpt is great. And all you need is a good sculpt, right? Like that's kind of the hard part, because everything else now, you just feed it into the whiz-bang machine and it pops out the other side next gen.
Okay.
I wish it was not harder than that, but that's all there is to it. You just need to be able to sculpt, but that's the hard part, right? But I think this is a great sculpt. It's got a lot of variation in the shape. It's a nice render of the sculpt as well. But it,
Texture.
yeah, man, killing me on this.
Yeah, it looks like rock. It looks like
Mm-hmm.
a horrible rock wall that if you climbed it, and I say horrible in terms of you climbed it, you tear your hands up.
Right.
But then I look at the sculpt and it looks like a tree that was just in a forest fire.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like a
a
photo of a burnt.
burnt
tree.
tree. That's about right. So you're missing a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah.
So maybe what would be cool is you could give either one of us your low poly and your bake, and then just like a 5 or 10 minute tutorial of how to
Texture.
just to take a crack at it.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, texturing is definitely my weakest.
You know, and the problem is here is I see your tools, I see Dido in there, and it makes me want to rip my hair out because that didn't come out of Dido.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way because Dido doesn't make bullshit.
You've been messing with it, Mark.
I did 2D do for that last one.
It doesn't look like, it looks like burnt trees.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like rock.
I
And forgive
feel-
me for saying it looks like bullshit, I'm sorry. But your
fine.
triangle count, these should be flat planes. Why on earth do you have 6,000 tries?
Oh, that's
I
a good
think-
point.
I think that's a mess up with the.
It's a pretty big mess up. You might
Well,
wanna
it says
fix that.
plasma cutter up there.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
Oh.
Yeah.
I will have to talk to her.
Mm-mm-mm.
You have to talk to her.
Yeah, she's
You should be in control of your own website. What if you need to post something up?
She said she'd do it like that.
Okay,
So.
all right.
Oh, all right, let's see. That's a big mistake because I didn't see plasma cutter. I saw
Yeah.
6,000 tries.
Yeah.
And I was ready to leap out this window.
Okay, so overall, all right. So here, let's go back to the job interview part.
Even so, your plasma cutter is 6,000 tries?
Yeah.
I didn't see 6,000 tries in your wireframe. One of those things is lying to me.
Really?
Well, Billy, here's the thing about Mark's
Whoa.
retop.
Oh.
He
wait.
just took his original stuff and did the low poly boxes, so you saw a lot of internal faces, right?
I think I cleaned
Well,
most
go back to the plasma cutter. The
Alright.
plasma cutter, I think, said 1,000 tries, which I was all right with.
Let me go back.
No, that's.
Or no, that's the fountain.
Yeah, that's-
14. Ugh.
Is that too much?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that's too much.
6,000.
For a
so
gun?
when I look at the density that I see there, that feels about right. You might just have a lot of small detail in there. That's
Not necessary.
possibly not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see 6,000 tries looking at that wireframe.
Yeah. There's some round stuff in there that you know might be some wolf hat, like whatever you've got right here.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of stuff here might have too much detail on it, those little notches.
Okay.
But the inside faces are the ones that can catch up to you as well. So.
Okay.
I mean, you know that I work on arguably the highest resolution game that I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
That's a 1/10 of our entire character on that gun. A 10th.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
Oh my god.
So yeah, and then maybe a better target would be like a couple thousand tries. I don't know. So for me, like, I just take as many tries as I want. It's
Mhm.
pretty sweet. Don't. I mean, but no, I mean, like, it doesn't really, like, tries these days, like the actual geometry. The engines are so powerful that, like, that's not really such a big deal.
It's true. Straw calls.
Yeah, it's like how complicated, how big is the texture resolution? That seems to be kind of more of a big deal. What's the footprint? But anyway, so let's pull some interview stuff.
Oh. Did you want me to show you the substance? I mean, yeah, the substance painter tile.
That's all right.
Okay. Cool.
Interview stuff.
Yeah. So let me just do it. Well, I guess I can edit it.
Yeah.
What do you think your greatest strength is as an artist?
As an artist, I feel my greatest strength is my ability to take feedback. I think I take feedback very well, and I integrate it into a better piece. Yeah.
Okay.
How would you say you would contribute to our team? You know, in terms of on the environment team.
As far as contribution to the team, I feel that I could do prop models for you guys very cleanly. I don't think I need too much feedback as far as getting my low polys out. Let's see. I know how to do tablet textures well enough, so you guys won't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions about the company?
Yes, I do. Which one are we doing?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
We're not going to tell you any real answers anyway.
Okay. I'll do Cloud Imperium then. As far as your artists go, what's your biggest asset, or what do you look for in artists?
Other than a chiseled jaw?
Other than stellar good looks, one of the things that is important to me is speed, coupled with proficiency. You need to produce good art and produce it in a very fast time frame.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we're working on here in Austin, working on the MMO. We have lists of thousands of assets that need to come out. I mean, when I say assets, I mean even minutia, little glasses and cups and things. So to knock those out, that's crucial for us.
Okay.
What do you think your greatest weakness is?
My greatest weakness, I feel I ask a lot of questions at times. I have confidence in my proficiency to do the work, but at times I will ask questions that are not necessarily needed to ask. I found ways to fight it though, and I'm experimenting a lot more when I do my assets and trying to find the answer for myself. But yeah, I do have a habit of asking a lot.
Well, I think after looking at your resume, your biggest weakness is actually that you're from New Mexico. Asking questions is actually one of the best traits that you can bring to a position, especially as like somebody that's unfamiliar with all of the, the subtle nuances of pipeline or whatever. And I actually asked tons of questions. Like the first 6 months I was at Certain Affinity, I was like 10 questions a day. My lead never lost patience with me. He's one of my very most favorite people.
Tony Rollins?
Tony's awesome too, but that was actually Steve.
Oh.
Steve Kelly. I forgot his last name for a minute, but yeah. So asking questions, like that's one of the ways I learned a lot at Bioware too. Is I sat next to a guy who was very patient. So asking questions it's way better than letting 6 hours go by without making any progress.
Yeah, I got sort of told off for asking too much, so that's.
If you're asking dumb questions, that
Yeah,
might be
I think.
something else,
Yeah, see, I think that's what it was. Like, I was asking like when I should have like just Googled it up and looked and see what it was.
Everybody knows there are no dumb questions, no dumb people.
That's right.
Do you, and this is personally important to me, do you like the Golden Girls?
Yes, I do.
And the reason I ask that is because if you don't like the Golden Girls, I don't like you. And that's a valid point because I think as you said before, people that you don't get along with in real life, crunch time happens. And once it happens, you're not going to like anybody. And if you already don't like somebody, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked this, kind of to see, what's your level of camaraderie.
Have you guys like ever experienced like stuff like that where they'll ask you like about personal interests?
Well, yeah. I mean, they want to get to know you.
Yeah.
So they asked me like what I did other than game art, and it's like, well, I used to do salsa dancing and wildlife photography. And I tried to just think into something funny that you thought, like something happened today.
You use salsa dancing, like
That's right.
just this big red dress.
Once upon a time, you're thinking flamenco.
Oh,
First of all, he's an excellent salsa dancer.
Well, once upon a time. Yeah, so they basically put that information in my bio that they emailed to everybody, and so I got invited to go salsa dancing shortly thereafter.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it was cool. It was good to kind of get back on the dance floor and then a little bit of time. But yeah, the best thing I ever heard about as far as like an interview is was the animators at BioWare.
Yeah.
What they did is they hired this guy. They had a pretty tight knit group, and so they had a guy that had come in for an interview, and they decided what they were going to do is they were going to take one of their current dudes and basically have them interview together, and have the current dude just give the wrong answer to everything and see what the applicant would say.
Yeah.
And that went the whole day where they'd be like, so, if you were working on animation, like, how would you go about doing it? And the guy was like, would you give an overtly bad answer? And then everybody would be like, oh yeah, that's a good technique.
Oh my gosh.
And they just wanted to see like how much this dude would sort of stick to his guns, and he did a great job. So they ended up.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I was like, that's pretty rough. You're scared enough as it is to have some guy being like, whatever the wrong answer is for animation.
That's interesting.